Hey guys, Felix here. Welcome to my channel. Before I get into today's video, I'd like to clarify something in my previous video about how to get into grad school. Um, I did talk about the GRE being the main test requirement, and that is true. But I think what I didn't mention was that a lot of schools are making it optional, so you can still apply with just your transcript. And yeah, you don't need to actually write the GRE. If you haven't watched that video yet, I'll link it in the description down below. Do check it out after watching this video. And yeah, let's get into today's video. Alright, so in today's video, I'll be talking about the F1 visa process and how to not get rejected. The process is actually pretty simple. Like, I know a lot of people ask a lot of questions about the visa process, whether what kind of questions you're gonna ask, or what kind of things, and it depends on certain factors that I'll be talking about. And I'll also be giving you some tips on what to do and what not to do during the interview process, because sometimes just an eye contact can actually make or break the interview, even if you have everything set. So yeah, stay tuned and then let's get into this video. Oh, so just a quick reminder that if you like videos like this, do give this video a like and also subscribe, because it does go a long way to improve the channel and also at least motivates me to continue doing videos like this. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna need is your I-20. This I-20 is a form which contains all the information about the school and also your finances. Even before this is issued, your school will initially reach out to you for with an I-20 application form so that they can at least get the information in terms of funding. Now, once you submit this, then they'll evaluate it and issue the I-20. The I-20 contains things like your program, and where you're from, obviously your name, as well as also the finances and the cost of attendance. So the one critical thing is that you want to make sure the funds that you have in the finances section actually adds up to the cost of attendance, which it usually does. Without it, the school wouldn't for the most part issue the I-20. So yeah, just make sure that adds up, because they want to make sure you can also fund your education for at least 9 months. So you need to also know about the fees. There's the service fee and the visa fee. The service fee is a fee you pay to the US government directly, although the visa fee is still going to be US government. But for the service fee, you log onto a website. I have a link of it pasted here. And then you pretty much make that, it's about $350, and that's a flat rate. I think it just got increased from 200 to 350. I don't know why, but hey, it is what it is. But so you have that, and then you have the visa fee. The visa fee is going to vary between countries. I know for a country like Ghana, it's about $190. So by the time you're done, you pretty much be out 350 plus about 200. That's 550. So yeah, you pretty much be out about $500. So please take note of the cost, because it can be pretty steep, especially when you convert it into your currency. It's like, is this even worth it? But yeah. So you also need to fill out the DS-160. This form is what is sent to the consulate. So like on the day of your appointment, the consular will have this form on their computer, and they'll be at least looking through it, making sure and asking you questions about it. And depending on your reply, that's why a lot of people actually get rejected, because then you have something like, oh, why did you apply to this school? And you wrote something on there, but then it doesn't really match what you wrote in the DS-160. Then they'll be like, oh. So just make sure. So now let's talk about the documentation. You need the financial documentation to prove that you won't be a burden on the US. So make sure you are including things like your scholarship. If you had a full ride, congrats first off, but make sure you have it printed out that you actually have a full ride. If you don't have a full ride, make sure you have any other scholarship, private scholarships that you applied for, or any tax forms or statement of employer form that you use to apply for your I-20, because they will want to know that you can actually afford the institution that you're going to, and that you're not going to be stranded here when it comes to the US. So that's very important. Without it, a lot of students get rejected because they don't have the financial documentation or can actually prove it that they can survive in the US based on the amount that they have, they are showing to the consular. So make sure it's convincing enough that they're gonna allow you in. And then there are other documentation like the passport, the birth certificate, and your test scores too. And also do print your admission decision. Sometimes they'll want to know, I see the actual admission decision, so make sure you print that out because, yeah, it's just what it is, what it is. Sometimes they will probably not ask, but to be on the safer side, just have it out. All right, so now let's talk about the do's and don'ts of the interview. You need to make eye contact when you're talking to the consular because the more eye contact you make, the more you're seen as like legit or you speaking the truth. If you keep looking into the air, then it's like, this guy might be lying to us. So you just want to make sure you're making eye contact because they can refuse you on any grounds and you don't want it to be like, oh, they think you're lying. So yeah, just make sure you're making eye contact, but don't make it in such a way that you're making it like look weird. Sometimes you can break it for a few seconds, that's fine, but just don't stare like me staring at the camera right now. Don't do that. Okay, so most likely you should also have some information about your why you apply to the school or why you apply to the specific program ready. That was the main question I got asked. They were like, oh, so why do you apply to this school and why do you apply to this program? And I was like, oh, I applied to this because of this and that and that. So make sure you have like something already down. Don't say it like you have prepared it, but make sure you have something already at the back of your mind that, oh, that when they ask you why you applied to a specific program or the school, you can actually state, and do not be giving generic answers like, oh, I think the school is good. Well, every school is good depending on how you do it. So the last thing is if you didn't get a full scholarship, do have all the sources of funding like ready because they're gonna probably ask for it. The main concern here is they don't want you to become a burden on the US. That's the main concern. So the US government will be supporting you. They don't want that to happen. So to get into the United States with the visa, you need to prove that you can fund your education. And you need to convince them that. Now, if you show certain documentation which they don't think is valid or legit, they'll probably probe further.